It's crazy, wasn't it?
Just making sure it's on.
I knew that was going to happen.
Okay. All right.
The Town of Berlin Parks Commission meeting. It's Tuesday, May 6th. We do have a relatively light agenda this afternoon, but I just wanted to bring to your attention, Cody is unable to make it this evening. So if anybody has any parks-specific related questions, feel free to address them here. And I'll follow up with Cody tomorrow morning and get back to you if I can't answer it myself. But he will not be able to make it today. Okay, so I suppose the start of the meeting, we'll look for an approval of our meeting minutes from our last meeting, March 4th of this year, of course.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 4th. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, so Vincent, we put you at the top to start us off this afternoon. So
All right.
if you want to take it away, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, of course. All right, so hi everyone. My name is Vincent Williams Kiki. I'm a Life Scout of Troop 225, which is sponsored by the Berlin Lions Club, and currently I'm working towards my Eagle Scout rank. I am a swimmer of the Ocean Pine Swim Team and Stephen Decatur Swim Team. I'm an engineering student at Worcester Technical High School, and I am currently a sophomore. Now, my project idea that I want to build is I'm building a little free library, which is essentially just a small wooden box that you can open and close, trade in books, stuff like that. Pretty cool. Those are some examples of what they look like. When I was actually like 6 years old, I remember I would always go to a park when I used to live in New York. There would always be the little library. I would get books out of there. I was always very curious. And basically what a lot of people, the reason why I kind of want to do this is because in Stephen Decatur Park, there's a lot of parents that take their children to the park, play on the playground, and they don't have anything to do. So my idea is they can open the library, pull out a book, read it, sit on the bench, so something to do. I plan on installing the box somewhere in Stephen Decatur Park. Those are two location ideas. The upper right one is just right in front of the parking lot. It starts that fitness trail. So when people basically park, they can just see the little library, pick out a book. And then the second lower left one is just very close to that upper picture. It's by the two playgrounds. So when people are walking their children to the playgrounds, they can get a book. And I plan to implement this installment somewhere between June and July and finishing by August of this year. Now, these are some sketches and ideas. I have some hard copies if you guys want to take a look at that. Yeah, you can pass it around. There you go. So, I have a lot of different ideas of what I want it to look like. The right photo is just the dimensions of what the little library looks like and the size. The little plaque right there, that's the charter plaque. So I can get that from the Little Free Library organization, and it will say Vincent Williams Kiki, Eagle Scout Project, when it was established, and it will say Little Free Library. And then the picture on the left is a materialist idea. So the brick, the upper brick one, is kind of going to match that whole Berlin masonry theme. And then there's a darker brick and also a dark wood. The original color is like a model wood, so that'll be the light wood right there. And then to make it look maybe a little bit more appealing to children, there's the color style, the bright, like kind of neonish colors. So those are many other color ideas. Any questions? Anything?
So you're a sophomore now.
Yeah.
So if anything happens to these boxes, we can contact you and you would come and repair them?
Yes, so I actually have a whole idea about the maintenance and repairing, keeping books in there. So originally what I'm doing is I'm gonna get books from like family, friends, scouts, school friends, and just put some old used books in the box.
I have 100 of the leather-bound classics, all the classics that I throw in my attic. I can certainly help out and give them to you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the idea is in like the scouting Eagle Scout program, you can't really say that I can maintain it. It has to be done. but
Mm.
you can kind of work through those guidelines. So my idea is to write a check to you guys so you guys can kind of hold the money. And then whenever I come down to college, you know, my mom, amazing mom right there, she can help out maintaining the little library box. And I can just pull some of that money and just, you know, keep books in there. I'm also going to talk to the library about any old books that they don't want anymore. They can just walk on over and put them in there, or I can pick them up.
I'm wondering if you can, I don't know anything about the money and all of that, but if you could set up with maybe other scouts, like establish a volunteer program.
Yeah.
Would would have
Be
your
passing
project
it down when you get on
completed.
someone else's.
And then you would establish some kind of program where someone can lay eyes on it. We'll see what it's doing. That, you know, I don't get to the park all the time, but if you had, you know, and maybe we could help with some of the volunteers, but if you would set up a volunteer program to go on after your project is completed, I think that would be something I would be very interested in seeing. And then it would offer, we get volunteers for the parks, and this would be maybe something that a family would enjoy doing, laying eyes on it, seeing it, making sure that there are books in it, you know, stuff like that in the future, down the line. Because lots of people will want to give books. Everybody has books these days to give away, and it's a worthy cause. But anyway, that's just my idea.
No,
If you
that-
thought you might be able to incorporate that into your program.
Yeah, I think I'll have to check with the guidelines, but I think that'll work. Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad you're open to suggestions.
Yeah, of course.
I will say too, Ocean Pines, I live in Ocean Pines myself, they have these boxes throughout the community.
Mhm.
So I would be more than, I mean, if you would like to, of course, you're more than welcome, but I would be happy to reach out to them to see how they maintain their boxes, if they have an organization that does it, or if it's individual property owners that participate in a program that does it. And I realize the town of Glen's not in Ocean Pines, but maybe they can propose either suggestions or a partnership if they use, you know, a local group to, you know, not right away, but over time, maintain it. But, I mean, our public, in terms of this, just the surrounding area, our public works will, you know, of course, keep an eye on it too. But just in terms of everyday maintenance, I can't imagine this requiring very much. It would just be, of course, the, you know, the general upkeep of making sure books are in there and,
Well,
you know, just the natural wear and tear of it too.
We all
Yeah.
know hinges.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, there was something else that I had planned. If you look in the picture up there, there's a couple flowers. My idea, or like one of my side ideas, was kind of that area in Stephen Decatur Park, just to kind of fix up, maybe plant a couple flowers around there, make it look pretty. Which that wouldn't necessarily need, I mean, it would need maintenance, but it's one of those kind of things where you just do it and it's done.
Well, yes and no. You have to have somebody who's going to use a mower around that.
Mhm.
Most things on the edges, there just will be damage, so anything that's, as much as I love flowers, I cannot in good conscience personally suggest that you add something that's going to be an obstacle for our mowers, and that would have to be discussed with.
Okay.
Or weeded.
Will you be building this yourself?
No, so I ordered a kit,
Oh,
but so you can get them, but I'm getting volunteers to help put it together.
I just have one suggestion, and it might be that you consider making it colors that are natural, that would kind of blend in with the park.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, you know, I feel like, you know, sign pollution, that kind of thing, I like that it could kind of blend in a little, but then maybe have something on there that's kid-friendly that would attract them anyway. You know, whether it's I have to say I do like the brick idea, because that's a natural, the brick or the wood, the dark wood would be nice, but maybe you can add something that's kind of a design, or, I don't know, paint a little, you know, something on the door. I don't know, but,
Like some kids playing or something?
or just,
Yeah,
I think
just
simple
a-
is better.
a
actually.
simple, colorful flower. I mean, you've done that with some different designs, just having.
But just keep
books.
it natural.
Or a book, a
Yeah.
colorful book would be a good idea.
But just basically keeping it like natural colors. I think simple's better in a way, because then the focus is on the books. So it might be better just to keep it plain and just, because I think kids would see it.
Oh, I do.
Especially the location you chose, I think is great
Yeah.
because it's,
I can actually go back there. Does the group have, just to, I guess, provide him with some guidance, does the group have a preference of location for the box?
I kind of like that bottom left. How do you guys feel?
On the way to, yeah, I'd like, people are going to pass it. Not everybody will, if you park, if the book's over here and you park here, you're never going to know it's there. But if you're going to walk along the path, you're going to see it. I think that would be I don't know,
Closer to the playground.
Yeah.
good point.
Yes.
Shorter distance for mom to have to carry that book.
And then maybe it doesn't blend into the, yeah, you're right.
That's
The
true.
The shrubbery.
Okay.
All in all, it's nice that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, we also have, we have a horticultural advisory committee too, that certainly kind of leads the way, with landscaping and planting, along with our public works department. So I'm sure that we could get, just in terms of, sprucing up the area around it, I'm sure they would be, experts in coming up with ideas just to kind of, I don't know, just help enhance it a little bit, if that is something that you wanted to consider.
Yeah, of course.
Would you be consulting with, Cody would be consulted about this?
Of course,
So, have you talked to Cody about this yet?
I haven't,
Not, this is
no.
the first time.
Oh, okay, well then, I recommend that you do.
Yeah.
He's also on the horticultural committee.
Yeah, he's one of our staff liaisons. Cody Chesser is our public works superintendent. He is a staff liaison for our Parks Commission, in addition to the horticultural advisory committee, so he would be a perfect person to talk to.
Could you,
with both groups.
Could you email me his
Of
contact
course, yeah,
information?
yeah.
Thank you.
He has been on all correspondence to this point, but yes, I'll certainly provide you with his.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so in terms of, we've got a placement form, in terms of the colors, does the group have a
I agree with Mayor.
path forward?
So do I. I like the natural.
Natural?
I think it would be, conform better to what Steve Dave Parks.
Yeah.
Okay. Just the wood or the light wood?
I think
Option?
not the light wood.
No, not the light, but
Yeah.
that will look like a
Yeah, I
light.
agree.
I like the dark light. That's
Well, any of the wood will darken over time, just being out in one of those wet does.
Okay.
I think that we should leave it to his creativity.
Okay.
And just specify that we prefer natural looking.
No, I do really like that idea. That's great.
Now, would you kind of come back to us with an image of what it's going to look like before you install it? or
Oh, yeah,
construct it?
yes, of
Okay.
course, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I can do that.
okay.
Maybe
I wouldn't
bring one
necessarily
in.
ask you to come
Okay.
before this group again,
I'll have,
but we would have to bring it formally for approval before our mayor and council. Our next meeting's on Monday, of course, I'm not going to make a rush to get it done by then, but the meeting after that would be, our meetings are the second and fourth Monday of every month. This second Monday happens to fall on Memorial Day, so our meeting will actually be held on that Tuesday, the 27th. If you're available, I can certainly, get you on the agenda for that meeting, or we can wait till June. So we'll be in touch, just coordinate around your schedule to see if we can get you on one of their meeting agendas.
Yeah, I was gonna build it and actually like assemble it in June or July.
Okay.
So I don't know like your latest meeting, but hopefully like around early July. I'll get
Okay.
it completed.
Sure, yeah.
Sorry, can I interject something? I think the idea was he has to have, he can't do he's not allowed by the Eagle Scout Committee
Until
to do
approval.
anything until he has that final approval from council first.
Sure.
And
I
then
see.
he's allowed to start fundraising and doing stuff.
A better
They have a lot of
rendering.
rules.
If you could use these ideas in order to help us visualize the finished
There you
product
go.
better,
Yeah.
that would be helpful, and we could
Certainly.
look at it in the email, and then you would be able to get, if you get that done quickly, you can go in front of the council.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that, you don't have to, but we would like to see what it's going to look like as you look at what your possibilities are.
So like a kind of colored, textured, like digital CAD design or model?
That would be great.
Okay,
As
I
long
do
as
that.
we can see what it looks like, I think that's.
That's
That would work.
You don't have to overcomplicate it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Get too
Yeah,
technical.
I use a ruler and a pencil, but you've got the better tools, go for it. I think, so,
I mean, I like it. Do you have any questions for us in terms of what you need to take back with you from this meeting? So I'll of course defer to the group, but it seems like we do have kind of unanimous approval that this is something that the Parks Commission would support. So I'll ask for a formal motion from them, but I just want to make sure that we as a group provide you with the information that you need to kind of go back and take it from here on your end with what's being asked of you.
That, I mean, that's basically everything I need to know. I
Okay.
don't need any more information.
Okay, so we got placement, we got color.
and he'll describe his materials
Yeah.
in his workup.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll ask you. They'll ask you, how is it going to be fixed in the ground? And that's the kind of information that they will want to know. So
Yeah.
Just, good, you know what to do.
And at the mayor and council meeting, we'll have some of our public works, certainly our department head will likely be here, but I can also just, if we need to bring in some people, I could ask them to kind of come and speak on behalf of what will be required of the town, if anything, for this too. So that's certainly no problem.
Thank you.
So the earliest, just in terms of mayor and council meetings, like I said, the next meeting after Monday would be Tuesday, May 27th. I'm happy to get you on the agenda for that meeting if that works around your schedule. But I'll just work with you to collect the information that we'll need to put before that body about a week prior.
Okay, is May 27th, are we free?
We can talk about that offline. Don't worry about that. I just wanted to,
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to make you aware that
All
this
right.
was
That's
that
what
was
it
the
would
next
be.
meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Okay. Perfect. Just so as a formality, do I have a motion from the group to support the project?
So moved.
Okay. And a second?
Second. I second.
All right, very good. So I'll be in touch with you probably next week just to make sure we get the ball rolling on putting you on the next meeting agenda.
All right,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go Hammerheads.
Oh,
I love it. My kids were Hammerheads.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
You know, we're hitting the 50th anniversary. I have my own board meeting going to the swim board. It's the 50th anniversary this summer.
Really?
And I was trying to put out information.
Oh, I
to
saw
find old
that.
Hammerheads.
I did see that. The 50, yeah.
Yeah, what is your last name?
Gillespie. Yeah, I'll have to see if I have it. I do
Yeah,
have
you
a lot
should
of-
stop by our Facebook if you have any pictures you want to
Yeah,
share,
your picture.
memories.
I love the Hammerheads.
We were there for years.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Can I get the hard copies back, though, please?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I go to that board meeting.
That's wonderful. Well,
right.
thank you
Well,
very
thank you.
much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have
a good
very
day.
much.
Good night.
Bye, thank
Take
you.
care. Okay, so I'll make sure we don't lose sight of that on the next meeting agenda. The rest of this is really just kind of some housekeeping stuff. I just wanted to circle back more of a formality to, I guess, talk about the letter that I had emailed to you all. The town, just to of course recap it a little bit, the town is pursuing a grant opportunity specifically the Community Development Block Grant in hopes of seeking funding for the demolition of the existing multipurpose building on Flower Street. I'm sure you are aware of it. It's in total disrepair. Asbestos has been detected in the building. It's in really, really bad shape. So in preparation of course, a new community center going there in the future, the town would like to pursue the demolition of the existing building first. So the letter, the mayor's office had reached out to me in hopes of getting the Parks Commission's approval and support really to pursue an application for funding, which is why a letter of support was written on the group's behalf. So I just wanted to kind of publicly state that. Thank you all for responding to me so quickly. But that letter that you all approved will be included as part of the application material for it. So that the town will be formally submitting an application really within the next week or so. So that's something we'll, fingers crossed, hopefully hear from over the next few months. Recap of the spring celebration. We naturally were out of crafts within an hour and a half or so. It was really quite a turnout for the event, I'd say. I mean, there was a beautiful day, a ton of people there. So we naturally got through our crafts pretty quickly, so.
Thank you once again for putting it together.
Yeah, thank you very much. We do meet again before our next event, which is the National Night Out in August, so we could talk about a craft at our July meeting. But, I mean, of course, all options are on the table for another craft idea, but these seem to go, the ones that we've been doing seem to go over really well. I think it's different than what's being distributed from other groups that participate, so just food for thought. If anybody has other ideas, feel free to bring that up at our next meeting in July. That's really it. Does anybody else have anything to share or concerns, comments?
I have a 15-month-old grandson that we are walking like nobody's business. It's not the easiest. So I've been spending quite a lot of time in Stephen Decatur Park, and I just had some kind of housekeeping issues there. Well, first of all, we have the list of our dream. Could we add the sidewalk extension to that? Because it would be so nice. Because I'm pushing a stroller, and all of a sudden you come to the end of the sidewalk and there's a drop, and you're trying to plow through the grass with a stroller.
So the one thing I will say is I can certainly look into. I don't want to say anything that's not accurate, but I do believe there's stormwater concerns in that area.
Okay.
Which is why a more permanent pathway has not been constructed there.
And I would love that going through there. I would love that also. But I'm talking about just to even connect where the sidewalk goes up to the parking lot. Because at least then you could go into the park easily. But when you're coming along there, the sidewalk just comes to an abrupt stop right at the park. So if it could just, a permanent sidewalk, if it could just go up to the parking lot. And
Even if the stormwater is an issue.
But I don't think it is.
I don't know the cost of it, but they do make it, they're like mats, the grass grows through, fire trucks can even drive on them.
Really?
To support, around for malls and so forth, so fire trucks can get around everywhere they gotta go. They're like a mat that goes down, grass grows right through, you don't see it, you can even cut grass over them.
That's cool.
The whole bit.
Now that would be great for the, that little connector piece, I'd say.
Sure.
But,
I agree, and I don't see that this would be any obstruction to stormwater management. The curb is, that's another issue, but getting a solid, something that you can walk on, I mean, people walking, I'm not a steady walker, it is a challenge. And I think that this is, we had discussed many years ago about getting this type of, I haven't heard of this so much, but
Right.
the kind of sidewalk where it's a paver, where the grass grows up and you just mow over it. But this sounds like a very inexpensive and,
I don't think it's inexpensive, I don't know what the
well,
cost
compared
is,
to
but-
digging and putting in pavers and, all of that, this sounds like a reasonable
I do
solution.
know aesthetically, it's more pleasing than, a bunch of,
But they do want the water to be able to flow over.
Right.
That is a real concern, I do
Yeah, the park's
understand.
up here.
Is
and all of a sudden,
paver, is paver the word to use to look into this option?
It's not called, I don't think it's paper, I'd have to look into
It would be more like a semi-permanent web netting of some sort.
Or-
Because this sounds like a.
No, it's
Maybe
a,
make it two things.
Like a-
One, the sidewalk, and then that.
pervious, it's like a pervious.
Yes,
Okay.
pervious ground cover.
And I
Yeah,
only asked about that before because I used to always, there was a trail there and I used to use it all the time.
We miss that trail.
I know.
I know, that's another,
And,
wish we could do it.
You know, the other thing that I would like about it is that, and this seems ridiculous, but the walking trail is .62 miles. I would love to get that up to 1 mile. I don't know, I mean, but eventually.
I know.
But the other thing is, and I asked this last year, and they moved right on it like that, but the trash cans are not over by the pavilion. And every time I go, there's trash out there. If they could put the trash cans by the pavilion, and maybe one at the other end for dog bags, because nobody
I
wants,
guess of the pathway.
you know, like at the other end by where the rocks.
By Memorial area.
Is there one there?
Well, there was like last weekish.
Oh, good.
A trash can,
Maybe they, no, maybe I.
But I wasn't
seen
sure if that
there.
was there temporarily for
And-
an event.
There are
or if that
other
was
solutions to that.
relocated there.
I'll talk to you.
But
about
the other thing was, I had someone that came to me and said that she and her husband always pick trash up at the ping pong tables. Because kids are using the ping pong, leaving trash behind. So as they're walking by, they're just picking it up. But I feel like if there was a trash can there
Okay.
and it's been like 2 days since I went there, so they could have the trash cans out already, but, you know.
Let me find out if there's a reason why trash cans are not at these places.
They've always been, not there, but the main one by the pavilion, there's always been, there's actually been too many trash cans there.
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm like,
say, I
remember
usually,
there would
they
be
usually
like-
had like 6 of them.
Or
Yeah.
more, they would have like
Yeah.
10 of them all lined up.
But for events, you know, when people have.
But they were just the like wheelie bins, they weren't.
Yeah,
the-
that's fine.
Yeah.
When people rent out the pavilions, I think they ask also for a lot of trash cans, you know. So that makes sense, but they should be, we need to spread them out in the right way. I know that wind is a problem with just leaving a trash can out, but there, you know, we could get
I
one
just think
post
there's
in the ground or
just one at
something.
that other end, just for, I mean,
No, nobody wants to carry their
You know
dog
what?
dirt around the whole.
and you know another reason why I bet there isn't one at that parking lot and that far one, because people probably pull in there
They
and
do.
clean out their cars.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, that was
Yeah.
one of the reasons.
So I'm sure that's the reason, but last year when I asked for them to be around the pavilion, they did it like the next day.
Okay.
It makes sense.
So I'm
to
sure
have
that they don't,
Yeah.
and this is something that is mildly humorous, but I took my grandson on the swing and this is it.
Okay.
It's like on spray might help.
Just a little WD-40 on the
Yeah,
swings.
okay.
And that's it. I love that.
That's it.
A lot of poison ivy is growing on the trees, the vines there, and it's very close to, and I don't know what they're planning on doing about it, but, last year, I think Laura helped a lot with the vines, but there's a
is
lot
it?
of
In
poison. As you're walking through the tree part, there's at least 10 trees that have, I mean, there's regular English ivy, but then you'll see like that one thing of poison ivy and it just turns like a canopy. And then there's another area where it has been cut or whatever and now it's growing through the straw or through the needles, so there's just, it's horrible. It's a project that needs to be done and it takes a lot of care.
You know, that's one more thing that I had on my mind also. If you go to the park, you'll notice that just in the last couple months, we've lost quite a few trees.
Oh,
A lot of trees.
that cherry tree by the tennis courts, it has healed over and it's resting on some pine trees now.
And just even if going back a year or two,
Oh, yeah.
we've lost so many trees, but I don't see more trees going in. And so the reason why I think that's such a great park, I lived in Ocean City when my kids were really little, and I drove them to Berlin because, we're freckled people, and I didn't want to always put on sunscreen. And it's cool and comfortable and beautiful. And I just would like to see more trees there too. Maybe that's something that we could put on.
I thought that we were getting a plan for tree planting.
Well, a couple of things. I can't even recall how long ago it was at this point, but the horticultural group did come before us, this body, I would say maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
And proposed a tree planting initiative.
Yes.
I'm not sure where they left off with that, so I'm happy to follow up with them. I know that they were recently awarded some Maryland Coastal Bays grant funding for the Keep a Pool initiative that had to do with some tree planting. I don't think that necessarily involved primarily planting trees at Steve Decatur Park, but I know that that was part of their initiative, so.
But like
But
big shade
I-
trees, a
yeah.
couple nice big shade trees would be good, like the London Plains or the.
Some sycamore, there's, I tell you, it would be nice to have some new oak trees, it'd be nice to have an ash tree, you know, just a general, any of these native trees, some of the, always more cedar trees, they're always good, the native cedar trees.
Sure.
Something nice.
But especially around the park area where the kids are, I feel like some nice shade trees would be great because that's where we've lost a lot of them.
You know, maple trees will grow pretty quickly into a nice shade tree.
They do.
So if we said for a quick shade tree, we'll get, maple, but then get some of these longer term growth
Well,
trees. That's the plan
There's
that
a couple
we
of
would love to
beautiful
see.
maple trees over there that are so breathtaking in the fall.
Oh, it's amazing.
They're really right there at the park. So-
No more gum trees.
Okay.
Oh, I have another video for you. You're done.
Okay.
Well, I know I brought this up last year, or the beginning of this year, but when we first built our house, like in our neighborhood, we had to replace the trees somewhere else in the county. And so I just think, and I just think about that, where the Wawa is going and that hotel, like, can't we negotiate with those builders to like replace those trees? Or are they required to place the
They-
trees?
When, they are required to submit a landscaping plan. So that has to do with, of course, trees, but all landscaping. So that is something that was submitted already. So I don't think that project in particular is one that we could kind of look at along with, taking, replanting things, but certainly going forward, we could look into the possibility of doing
Because
that.
we
with
actually,
projects.
we had to like go to the county commissioners, and I forget the whole process, this was like 18 years ago, but we came up with a plan, we didn't want the trees to be planted where they were going to be planted, and we had to come up with a way to negotiate with the county to let us put the trees somewhere else. We didn't have the trees, we just had to like
You
provide
had to say,
funding.
these trees, I have to pay a certain amount
Yeah.
of money for
So
tree
you will put the
planting.
trees somewhere else.
And instead of putting it on a street side where
Yeah.
they're gonna get hit by a mower and die in
Exactly.
2 years,
Right.
you wanna put it someplace where
Right.
it's gonna be effective.
Mhm.
Like a tree in the park would
Right.
be a very effective use of it, especially since that's like our main stormwater management place in the whole town. So
Yeah, yeah.
I would love, actually, this sounds like a wonderful proposal for the Parks Commission to put forward to with our building permits. If people have to remove trees, I think that, we should be the beneficiaries of those trees. I think that this might be something good to explore.
Yeah.
I like your idea.
So, of course, there have been some changes in our planning and zoning department, so I am absolutely more than happy to bring this forward as an idea as things continue to be revamped. There are changes coming over there in a really good way. But I think, not that this is on the whirlwind of the total poll, of course, but I can't promise how quickly this is something we would be able to address right away, but I think it's a fabulous idea too. I just think it's something that we have to.
Like Wawa and probably the two hotels have like community funding programs, right?
Absolutely.
But their programs don't align to this. I checked that out before, but they are supposed to do things for the community when they're coming in, and they are radically changing the landscape of our town. Like,
Yeah.
that intersection is insane, and there were so many trees there.
I mean, they were, not that each one was a prize, but there were hundreds of trees that, of various sizes that were chopped down. So I think you're right, there should be a kind of a trade-off. Right now, a lot of the stuff is going, I like that idea. And there's nothing wrong with asking. We don't have to have a formal agreement, but there's nothing wrong with having an ask in every single one of these things, you know? We don't have to say, hey, by the way, we're going to break your kneecaps, but we would really love it if you would do this for us.
Would you consider doing this? Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm more than happy to bring that as a proposal to the department.
They provide hoagies for the community when they open, so we could say, in lieu of hoagies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I wonder if we could even ask like Home Depot for leftovers that they're gonna.
Yeah, exactly. Because they
You
have
know,
to have a
that's a
community,
good
they have a
idea
community
too.
thing.
I wonder what their
At
policy is
Walmart.
when their plants go.
And food mart, that's right there.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Homework.
this is something that with the horticultural committee, we could really come up with some good plans, especially if we have a plan for planting.
I have a lot to do before our next meeting.
We did not go easy on you.
No, that's okay. But I mean, truly though, these are all really, really great ideas. I think Cody being our staff liaison, having to do with the parks, these are certainly things that I would like to bring to his attention that have been talked about, and his involvement with the horticultural group too. So at our next meeting, I can certainly provide updates on all of this. The tree community program, I think, might take me a little bit longer to
Yeah.
look into, but I certainly think it's a possibility that we can explore. Absolutely.
And Henry Park also, because they need shade.
We have planted a couple of trees, but it's,
Well, I'm just picturing all those kids playing basketball in the summertime. You need a shady spot to sit down in.
Yeah, because there's that 1 pavilion. that's
Nothing.
there.
well, they
Yeah.
have some cedar trees right near the area, and down in the lower area, we planted an oak, but so many of those other, I think the dogwood trees and things, all of those smaller trees are gone. That might be a good place for like redbud. Those would be really nice, because they get a nice canopy on them. You know, pretty,
Sitting next to a big shoot, because the combination of like that taller tree with a red bud next to it, I love.
and did you see that the French trees are blooming? Yeah, I love those trees.
I got my stuff, I got my work cut out for me for next week.
Thank you for being
Of
so
course,
patient.
of course. Anything else from the group? Just, no.
Just the poison ivy I'm
Yeah.
concerned about. And if I can, I mean, if they provide the Tyvek suits, I will remove it. I mean, Tyvek suit with the hood
Yeah.
and the plastic gloves, I'm there. I mean, it's got to be done.
Maybe they could just saw the bottom of it and. can you do that?
I don't know what the rules are
Yeah.
about using pesticides now.
No, I mean like take a chainsaw and cut the
Like,
bottom.
or clipper,
You
know, small
can,
stuff.
but you have to poison the root in order to kill it, and you have to remove the vine. You're gonna have to touch it any way you look at it, you know, you just have to, you have to get the vine down because you don't want people to touch that when it falls, you know, the dog will go running
method.
through it. Yeah, I mean, it's like hazardous waste material.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
For some people, fortunately, I'm not severely allergic to it, so I can do it, but a lot of people, they can't even walk by it like that.
I had a coworker this year that was just covered in it for weeks.
I had that when I was a kid before.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm happy to participate. I love seeing poison ivy die.
All right.
I
Anything else
think-
for the group? Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yep.
Okay.
Second.
All right, very good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Tricia, I have to find something else. You're gonna.
Oh, I'm
Well, this is my grandson.